Grasshoppers. There's a million of them this summer. Here's what I'm doing right now. Spray painting my posts black to match my brackets up top. One more to go. And we are going to install these into the sides of the island. And I've got it marked out, and I'm going to cut it with this guy. Looks good. Had to move this screw up. And then this thing might be in the way. I might have to etch it out with that. Put a metal bit on that and etch that out. Just wasn't paying attention to what's on the inside there. Thought I had moved over enough. All right, let's see if she fits. Not using those little flap things hanging down there. Too snug, gotta etch it out a little bit more. All right, we got her in there. Nice and snug and flush. This is too thick to use those little flanges, so I'll just put a couple screws in there. Nice flat-headed screws or something. It's so snug, it's not going anywhere anyways. All right. Okay, that's all cut out. See how she fits. All right, the second one's in. I did skip a little bit, hoping that's still covered. Kind of jumped on me. Should have taped around here just in case of that, but I thought I was being super careful. Hopefully that's covered, but I don't know if it will be. But our power is down in here, I think. All right, let's click on the kitchen island. Right there. Regular outlet at the end of the line. And then the GFCI at the start. There we go. Sweet. And then I just went ahead and ran it in the cabinets, and I bought these clips that had an adhesive, so they're all clipped to the top back. And then I drilled a hole and ran them through the cabinets. And there it is. So, and then I just came up through the back corner of those. So I think I might take some, conduit casing for, I have a whole bunch of rolls of it for work I've been doing on my side-by-side. It's just plastic, and it has you can pop it right on, And I think I'm gonna do that inside of here just to add an extra layer of protection, but if I don't care. I decided to do it this way because my in-laws had a custom built kitchen and a real electrician. And this is exactly how he did it, so I just decided to do the same thing. But now we have GFCI power to the island, and it just has the 2 outlets with GFCI on this end, and then that protects the line, the circuit. So, all set. All right, on the docket for the rest of today is the fireplace hearth. I had marked it out originally way back with its center point. That's the center of the stovepipe on the stove. We've got everything in place. We've got pipe to connect with it. Now I just need to frame this out, put cement board on it, and then I have the hearth stone, and I think we're gonna sub out to the guy who set the stone for us. He just came and did it really quick in one morning, so probably just for a few $100. So we'll probably have him do the same thing. So it looks nice, it's super nice, and I don't have to deal with that. And he does it 10 times faster than me. So, and we can drop that stove, connect it, and then just in time for us to move in, and we'll have a wood burning stove for the winter. So I've got 2x8s to build the foundation with, and then I'm going to use 2x6s up the back. I think I am going to do a mantle because the stove does sit so far out. I just don't want there to be an awkward space behind there. All right, so I need to go take measurements off the hearthstone, and that will determine the actual dimensions of the base based off this center point. So, here we go. See the farmers up there in the high fields. They did some cutting earlier, and now they're, oh, looks like he's cutting. I was gonna say, oh, maybe they're disking. Might be plowing or disking the fields for the fall. Can't tell if he's cutting or disking. Anyway. Beautiful fall. Alrighty. I laid out our hearthstone. I didn't realize they've got textured corners, and then all the rest of them only have one textured side. But you're stuck because they're not square. I thought these were square for some reason when I picked them up, but they're not. And so the layout's all wonky. Because if you try and rotate them, like I need a textured end so I can set that like that. But you're stuck. So we'll have offsetting lines, which I don't really care too much about. The stove will be sitting right about there, so it'll throw your eye off anyway. But I think it might work out perfect in that I thought I was gonna have to buy another one and cut it and fill it in. But that's where the 2x8s, which are 5.5 inches, will sit for the mantle. And so I just need to cut these into an L. So I'll run the mantle across in that gap, just sitting on the foundation underneath the 2x8 foundation, and I'll end it here. And that way we can wrap that in stone and have this stick out. So I think I've got all that laid out with my crazy numbers. I went in there and measured and made the markings on the floor. So I'd have 2 inches of overhang, 2 inches of space to do mortar and stone, a 1/2 inch of space to do the cement board on each side. And I think I've subtracted that all out to get, I need to build a wood base that's 56.5 inches long and 48.5 inches wide. And I think that'll get me what I want. I'm gonna think it through in my head a little bit more and then start making my cuts on the lumber and put the base in place. Alright, I got her laid out. I think I'm just gonna nail it all together and then throw in a couple screws, one at each hinge point, but I want to be able to flex with the floor so I can pin it down a little bit. Maybe, or maybe I do want it just to be perfectly. All right, so she's all nailed together. I put that bracing in, nailed that all in so that I can sit the 5.5 wall here to give it foundation, and so there's a lip for the cement board. Okay. That's where it'll sit in the living room. I think she's centered up based on my previous markings. So we'll make sure this is sitting square with some cross measurements and some 3, 4, 5. And then we'll pin it to the floor, and I just realized I'm a moron. I guess I can still drive a long screw in there and pin this to the studs, but I needed to put these in after I pin it to the wall. It's not a huge deal, but I just wanted that extra brace. Alrighty, that thing's pinned to the floor. So I put these braces in with at least a couple screws in joist, and then pinned it around on the sides and inside. And then I took these big lag screws and pinned those into the studs. I've got 3 right there because it didn't feel like it was grabbing. Those 2 you could definitely feel, and this one it just felt soft, but there's a stud there, 16 on center, and the stud finder. So I just drove 3 in. So that's pinned. It's not going anywhere ever. So now I'll build the mantle. Decide how high I want that to go up. Part of me doesn't even want to do it, but we'll see. Okay, so there's the back that we'll put the mantle on. It doesn't look level. I hope it is. Let's grab a level. There's oh, still wheezing from being sick. Oh yeah, it's dead level. Boom. Perfect. All right, so now I need to pin it to the base, and then I'll block it up top and pin it to the wall. And we should be good. And then I just need to buy the cement board and wrap it in that. My thinking was, when I set those hearth stones on here, they'll overhang. I left 2 inches for 4.5 inches, 2.5 for cement board and mortar and exterior rock, and then a 2-inch overhang. And that way, underneath that L of the hearthstone, there'll be at least this catch here, and then the built out, and it'll stick out to there, that little mark on the wall. And then the stone up here will wrap around a couple inches and leave that much hearthstone. And then I wanted to make a mantle out of a beam of wood. And if I can get up into the mountains and cut a dead pine and soon enough, I'd intended to do that this summer. I just never did. I don't want to order one because then it's like $300 or $400 for something I could cut for free. Okay, that is pinned in place. I lag screwed these into the studs, and then I screwed in from the top to hold it. I don't think that's going anywhere. So like I said, we'll wrap that in cement board and then place the hearthstone and then face it and then wrap the mantle in stone. And then before all that, I'll get some type of beam and put it up here. I built one once in a previous house remodel, just out of I think I wrapped the top, maybe. No, I built a hollow core one and then put a board on top and then slipped it over and then pinned it into the board, but it was hollow, and then I stained all the wood. So, but I think I'd like to do a solid one up there. I think so. It'll be good. I'm glad that's done. That's it. I'm wheezing. The sun's about to set. Another half hour, 45 minutes.